Oh, wait, hold on. Cancel.
And I'm like, am I still supposed to talk?
They took that time and that effort to create that for you. And it's like, you're like, at least for me, I'm like, it's just me. I'm just this normal girl who.
You're good.
Does your family like fully know like what you do? And I'm guessing like if they do know about it, they're like accepting of it and are just like, do your thing.
Yeah, no, they always were supportive of it, but they're super proud now with everything going on. Like they know what I want to do. And it's funny, like no one in my family is like into dance music, but my mom wants to go to a show with me at some point, but like they're starting to get to know about it. And I tell them about like the interviews, and my mom's super supportive. She was like on Clubhouse on some of the panels
Are you serious?
I was on. She's like on Clubhouse listening.
She was on Clubhouse. Wow, you are your mother's daughter. Before we get into the episode, if you guys can please hit that like button and subscribe, that would be so great. And it'd be a great way to support Best Candy Ever. Leave me a comment. Let me know what other guests you'd like to see on the podcast. And let's have a good time. Candy fam, what is up, everybody? Today, I have a very iconic and special guest on the podcast. She is an amazing YouTuber, but also is a fellow podcaster, as well as somebody who I think does everything. I don't know what she doesn't do. She's a social media coach. She has her own, not just her own podcast, but she actually co-hosts a podcast as well. And she's amazing on TikTok. So without further ado, please welcome the amazing Emma Capotes.
Yay. Hi, guys. I'm so excited to be here.
Girl, me too. I'm so happy you're on here. Like, you have been one of my guests that have been on my like must have on the podcast list. So now that this is finally happening, I'm just like, this is so great.
I know. Well, the funny thing is too, because I'm just going to forget that we're recording. Because I just feel like this is going to be a conversation between the two of us. So,
and I like that because that like eases my anxiety, because then it makes it more like, for me, I don't think about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm excited.
So girl, what have you been up to? What's new?
Oh my gosh, so many things. I feel like this year kind of just like escalated really fast, just like after the holidays and stuff. But no, I've been creating a lot of content, probably more than ever before. Like you mentioned, I started a new podcast with my co-host, Michael Julian. The first episode came out February 9th, I believe, but that's a very new project. So yeah, I'm just doing my thing on YouTube. The two podcasts are keeping me busy. And now this whole coaching and digital courses thing is also like in my free time as well. But it's been really, really fun. I feel like we're also about to see the light at the end of the tunnel here with shows and events coming back soon. So I feel like the energy just feels better right now. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. It's funny that you say that. It's like about to come to an end, because I feel like there have been mixed feelings about it. Like, no, this is going to go on forever. But I feel like the majority of us are like, festivals are back.
Yeah, we're ready.
Yeah. So, okay. I don't know if anyone really knows this, but I actually just finished your course. So for those that don't know, Emma does have a social media course. Emma, can you tell followers that don't really know like what that is, what it's all about?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So it was pretty new to me, honestly, within this past year. I had friends who were coaches, like nutrition coaches or business coaches. So I knew that world existed, but it was last, I think, August, where I started listening to a lot of like female entrepreneur podcasts. Like you and I are obsessed with podcasts. Just listen to all that. And I found them really inspiring. And then I realized, all of these people also do these webinars where you can learn about business and things like that. So I started taking like their free webinars. And then I remember it was in September, and there was this one woman I listened to, Amy Porterfield, and she was like, her thing is I teach people how to launch their own digital courses online. And it can be about whatever you're passionate about. And I was like, that's really, really interesting. I've always, thought about it. And it was starting like the next week. So I had a few days to decide. And it was like an expensive course. It wasn't cheap. And I was like, you know what? F it. And I bought the 12-week course and I did that. And it was awesome. So I did that from September to November. And it basically taught you everything you needed to know about launching your own online course. And then I launched my first course, but I like gave myself, when I set my mind to something, I'm like, I'm going to do it. So I was like, cool, I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to launch a course in December. And that's what I did. And it was about building your social media engagement, because that's something I'm super passionate about. And yeah, it was an amazing group of women that we had to start with. It was so, so cool. I'm proud of myself for doing it. And yeah, once that one was under my belt, now I was like, okay, I want to do other courses, webinars, all that fun stuff, and just share whatever information I have with other people. But they're really, really fun. There's so many out there for like any topic and interest you guys have. So definitely look into them if you see any like free webinars or anything like that.
Yeah. And Emma's course is amazing, you guys. I think a lot of us, for a while with the algorithm change, like back 2 years ago, I think it totally messed a lot of different content creators up, myself included. And I just remember thinking, well, I give up on Instagram. I'm going to go over to TikTok or Twitter or whatever. And this is just how it's going to be from now on. But then eventually I came across like your course and I was like, what is this? And I can't tell you guys enough, like how much good information is in there. And some of the things that you provided in that course, I don't really think that you could find anywhere else, because a lot of it I think was like a really thorough analysis. And like because I think that you're one of the only EDM content creators that's really doing something like this, or you're at least the first one who's kind of started going in this direction in terms of like coaching and mentorship. What keeps you going? Because I'm just like, you do so many things and you still have like, your 9 to 5 or your full-time job. And I think that's just so crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the coaching and stuff was a natural next step for me, because with YouTube and social media, that's just like so much fun. That's a passion project. But I noticed that for social media, as my accounts grew, I was getting a lot of the same questions. So a lot of people want to start their own podcast, or a lot of people were asking how to grow their platform, and I was like, how can I do this in a way? And like, I'm in my DMs all day, every day. Like, I will always answer questions, but I was like, how can I do something that will help more people at once? And so that's when I started to think about doing the online courses. And again, like, I'm all for like creators, because I think like if you're passionate about something, you should totally go for it. And everybody has like a story to share. So I just, like you said, like I feel for people who get frustrated or unmotivated, or they don't even want to start because they think other people did it first. Like, that's literally irrelevant. You have your own like perspective and take on things. So you should, come up to bat and take your chance on it. You know what I mean? So that's where the digital courses came from. And I have so many more new ones I want to do. I'm actually going to relaunch the course you took in June. So I'm really, I like can't wait to do that again, because it was so much fun. And now I'm doing one-on-one coaching. So that's another thing. So that's like less people that I can work with, but I think you get so much out of working one-on-one. I hired my first business coach this past, January, and it's been like life-changing. So I definitely
hired your business coach?
I hired a business coach. Yeah, Maddie Maple. She's amazing. I had heard the same thing. People were, it's so funny. Like, you just start spiraling. People are like, I'm telling you, if you want to launch a business, you should invest in a coach, because they're going to advise you. They're going to tell you, like, they're going to give you the blueprint. And so I did that. And now my coach is like, here's, how you get clients. Here's how you should frame your coaching. Like, here's what you should do. Cause I don't know anything about sales or like anything like that. And she's given me like the most amazing tools. And so I feel that way too. I'm like, if I can help people get to their goals faster and more efficiently, because I've been doing this for 4 years. It definitely took me longer to get to certain milestones, but if I can help you get there faster, then that's like a win for me. That makes me happy.
Yeah, 100%. And for a while, more like 2 years, I was like, I have the internet. I don't need to ask people or look up YouTube videos. Like in my head, I was like, I can do all the research.
Yep.
And I think a lot of us have like this inner pride, and a lot of us, I think, don't really want to admit it, but I'll admit it. For a while, I was like, I don't need this. And then, and then something just went off one day, and I was like, why wouldn't I ask for help if I know I need it? If I know I've been stagnant for 2 years? Like, I think that's one thing that people have a hard time with, is admitting that they need help and that they just don't know, or they're crunched for time and they can't do the research like myself. So that's why I was like, fuck it. Emma knows what she's doing. Her platform has grown on all the channels because I've been following you for a while as well. So I was like, why wouldn't I ask her? She clearly has like this formula down. So that's why I like took your course, and it's been like so many great tips and ideas. So yeah, thank you for doing that. I feel like that's a really big help with not just the EDM community, but like creators in general.
Thank you. No, I'm so happy you were in the course. I really like couldn't wait to work with you. And yeah, it's really cool. I don't know. Like I said, even me, like investing in that 12-week program I did in the fall, and then investing in a coach, like it gets addicting because you start to see yourself growing faster, and you start to see these results, and you're like, oh my gosh, if I only realized like investing in myself and educating myself more would equal like all these things starting to go really well, then I would have done this a long time ago. So that's kind of like how I feel about it now. But that's exciting. There's so much to learn out there. It's addicting.
Yeah, for sure. I think that with the pandemic and COVID, I think that's what a lot of us have realized, is that we have all the time, like now currently, to just learn. But I feel like some of us just, like you said, kind of like spiral into it, just like start finding all these things to learn and do. And I feel like that's one of the reasons, like now, I feel like a lot of content creators kind of have like disappeared since the pandemic happened, or they won't post as much. But I feel like you're one of the only ones that are like super consistent, and you're like constantly in my feed, not just because we like talk, but because you're actually posting shit like all the time.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I think like the biggest tip is just like consistency. And I'm more of like a slow burner. For me, it was always like just be consistent over time. I wasn't in a rush to get anywhere, which does work for some people. I think sometimes, especially on YouTube, you can see people who are like instant successes who grow by 100,000 subscribers in a couple of months, which is like fucking amazing. But I was always like slow and steady, and it depends on what you want out of all this too. Like everybody can have a different intention and reason for doing it. And my end goal is to work in this industry professionally. So I was like, I'm not in a rush. I'm building a foundation for hopefully a very long career, but I would just stay consistent, keep going, keep posting, even though you get no comments in the beginning or very, very low views, like it will grow over time. And right now, like you mentioned, is tricky. I think a lot of content creators have taken a break. I'm sure we'll see people come right back as soon as like events and stuff come back. But for some people, they just moved on right now. And then the search traffic and things will go back up. Because I think we all saw a hit when this pandemic first started. It was a little scary, but I think it's going to start going back up very soon. We might have some events next month. So we'll see what happens.
Right. And I wanted to ask you, so I've noticed that some influencers, content creators, whatever, they're kind of going a different route. I feel like a lot of people are kind of changing their niche. Not that there's anything wrong with that. For me, that's just not my niche, is to do like everyday fashion, skincare, makeup. That's totally cool. It's just not me. But what do you think about that? Like influencers or content creators that have gone from like full blown raving content to more of like that, like influencer fashion makeup niche.
Or like more modeling kind of thing.
More modeling, more like that typical Instagram content creator that you see, that it's like you look at it and you're like, this, I didn't know this girl is a raver type of thing. I feel like a lot of influencers are doing that. And a part of me understands but doesn't understand, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess it just depends, because I do think this past year we saw a lot of people shift just because like it is harder to like come up with content from scratch when like the thing we were creating content around was kind of like taken away. So I do think made sense this past year for some people to like pivot or change altogether, or like we said, maybe take a break and like not do the social media thing anymore. But I think honestly, just like whatever floats your boat, I think definitely think about what audience you're trying to attract, maybe what brand deals you're trying to get, like just really think about the audience you want to create and the people you want to work with, because your content should probably reflect that. And yeah, I think that's what I think, but it depends. It depends on what you want to attract and what kind of community you want to grow and all that kind of stuff. But I would say the thing that could like separate you or make you stand apart is just to try and come up with, we talked about this in the course, like try and come up with unique ideas, unique series, again, be consistent and try and like come up with some original ideas that will like separate you from other people. Cause there's a lot of people trying to do the same thing right now, which makes it really hard. It can feel like a really like saturated space to be in, but there are definitely ways that you can stand out amongst all of the rest.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that for sure. I think that it might be one of those things where it's like festivals come back and people will go back to like the raving content. But I was thinking about like, maybe this is from a business standpoint. There's definitely more sponsors for things like, I don't want to say like generic, but things that aren't rave related. I feel like it's easier to appeal to the masses when you're doing something that everyone will like versus something so specific like raving content. But who knows? I mean, not that any of this is bad. It's just something that I noticed with a lot of creators. So I always was wondering like, why are they doing this? Or are they trying to create a different brand? Why are they changing their name from this to this? And yeah, I don't know. There's just been, I think, so many different changes within like the rave community. But speaking of change, like what are some of the changes that you anticipate coming with like festival season in terms of anything really, like festivals themselves or how festivals do things?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think a lot is up in the air right now just from speaking to like festival producers and things like that. I think everybody's kind of like just trying to figure out what to do. And right now, all I say is like there doesn't seem to be like a blanket answer or solution because everything has been so different on a state to state level. So one thing I feel like everybody's comfort level is just going to be different because I think no matter what, as things open up, some people are going to like not be about it at all. I think there's people on the complete other end of the spectrum because I see the comments all the time who are like, I'm ready to go. Like, I don't even care. So it's like so hard when you have such different points of view. And I'm not saying any is right or wrong. But I think like somebody's got to be the first. It looks like a BW next month might be like one of the first big music festivals that attempts it. But I think for the meantime, we're going to see just wear your mask and try and be really good and responsible about it. Especially if you're going to be like flying and traveling. I'm still unsure. I do want to get vaccinated as soon as I can. New Jersey is actually moving pretty quickly with the vaccine, it seems like.
Oh, when are they going to start doing everybody? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I know like Biden just came out and said like all adults should be eligible by the end of March. In New Jersey, a large chunk of like professionals just got it. So all teachers and things like that were just approved. And I forget what else, but they're going by profession right now, I think, with a lot of people or age if you're older. So a lot of my friends who are teachers are going to get vaccinated soon and stuff like that. But in general, I think we'll see in the very early stages, probably like COVID testing or vaccination status check, I think. I've heard a lot of like health protocols inside. So like cleaning down the bathrooms way, way, way more, hand sanitizing stations, like all of that kind of
for
stuff.
A line.
I know. I was like, I'm kind of here for the clean bathrooms. All right. We should have been doing that already. But yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely the first festival I think I have on the books is a much, much smaller festival. It's Elements Lakewood, which is Labor Day.
Are you going?
I'm like 99% sure I'm going to do that one. And that's a camping festival and it's only like 5,000 people and they already had it in 2020, they had like a 2-step COVID testing system that worked for them. So I'm like very confident, but we'll see what happens with EDC. Technically, I have tickets to EDC. So,
Girl, me too.
yeah.
Me too. Yeah, with Elements, I think that was a good call because I think that festivals that happen for the first time, even like pre-COVID, I feel like those festivals always have like little like nooks and crannies that they got to like kind of fix and tidy up since it's like their first one. But since it's their second, it's going to be their second festival. I think that they're going to have like an idea of how to gauge things and how to be organized and what to do. I think that's what a lot of these festivals are going to kind of struggle with, I think, because it's going to be like completely new protocols, different ways of doing things. And then they're going to have to like handle people being on drugs, not wearing their masks. Like it's going to be a completely different ballpark for sure. And in terms of EDC, I feel like that's what everyone's talking about right now. And I think that's going to be pushed back, whether it be June or October. But like in my heart, I feel like it's going to happen.
I think it'll happen this year, 100%. But we'll chat later. I have a feeling it might be in fall as well.
Okay, we'll talk about that. Yeah, and that's totally cool. I mean, I'm so praying for Forrest, dude. I know we talked about this last time on your podcast, but I haven't really heard anything about Forrest, but maybe that's a good thing that we haven't heard anything, right? Like, no.
Yeah. And they said, I mean, they never came out and said anything, but I just love this community, how on it they are and like Reddit and stuff, because they literally follow the like town council meetings and they're like the Rothbury in Michigan, like town council meeting approved backup dates. So like that was out publicly. And I know I wrote them down on my calendar. It was like 2 weeks in August, I think, that were approved as backup dates. So maybe we'll be lucky and maybe Electric Forest will happen. It'll just be later in the summer. It's all hearsay. We have no idea.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I was like, oh my God, all these festivals are probably going to happen like on the same weekend. I feel like a lot of us are going to have different conflicts. Yeah, because I know Excision, he came out with that post recently about Bass Canyon and Lost Sands tickets coming out on sale this week. And I was actually thinking about going to Bass Canyon, but then I was like, wait, like Forest is supposed to happen like sometime within the same exact month. And then usually Nocturnal is the same month too.
Oh my God. And I'm so type A, like I do not do things last minute. And this year, this is just like forcing us to be so last minute with everything. And so, yeah, you really just can't plan or anything like that. You just have to send it. Or if you really know you want to go, just buy your ticket and like, you'll obviously roll it over and use it at some point. But
right. It's true. It totally messes up like booking flights or Airbnbs or hotels. That's the only thing that I'm kind of worried about. But that will definitely be interesting. I just can't believe that we might like that it's going to happen. Like festivals are coming back. It almost doesn't, I feel like I'm kind of like in denial about it still. Like I read about it, but I'm just like, but is it really going to happen? I don't know. I feel like this year was just so full of shocking news.
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I when I spoke to the founders of Elements, again, like it's just hard because they're a boutique festival or they're a smaller festival. Like it's only 5,000 patrons versus like 80,000 or whatever the bigger ones are. And I think the biggest things it comes down to is the cost of those like rapid tests are so expensive to have them at the gate for that many people. But the way they said it, that it happened last year, like, which made me feel more comforted. I was like, oh my God, but what happens if you get to the gate and you test positive? And they were like, well, it's a two-step system. So you take your first one within 48 hours and that's going to weed out most of the people. Because if you test positive, then you're not going to show up. So if you test negative for the first one, you're not going to go anywhere for 2 straight days. You're going to stay in your house. And so that you can go to this festival. So he was like, the percentage that tested positive at the gate were like 0.0015% or something like that. Cause that first one. And then I was like, well, what were the vibes like going in? You know, were people still nervous or like, I would be a little, and he was like, it was immaculate. It felt like people could enjoy themselves again. They had the peace of mind that we created this bubble. And he said it was awesome. So that gives me hope that it is possible and there are ways to figure it out. But again, everyone's comfort level is different. I live alone with my fiance. Like I could quarantine before and after a festival and things like that. People who live with immunocompromised family members or older relatives, like I completely understand them being upset because if they don't feel comfortable going to a festival this year, it sucks that they would have to miss it. But
right. But at the same time, I feel like that's everyone's kind of like their individual responsibility in terms of, okay, well, if you know that you have like immunocompromised family, then why would you even go? I mean, again, this is like so black and white. I don't mean to like cause any controversy, but I feel like at that point, that's on you. But I get it. It's been a year. You're going crazy. We all need to decompress, de-stress. I mean, last night I went out with family to Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas, and I haven't been there in like a year. And their little light show was going on, like with that little giant tent that they have on Fremont Street, and they were playing dubstep. Who would have thought? And like my boyfriend and I, we just looked at each other. We're like, oh my God, because we haven't been to like a drive-in rave. So that was like the closest thing to like even hearing loud music, like loud bass to the point where you could feel it like in your heart and it just throbs. And I haven't had that feeling in over a year. So I was like, I can't imagine what the first festival back will even feel like if this is what this touristy environment feels like to me right now.
Oh man. It literally, I like don't think people understand. Like it gives me goosebumps. Like I don't think any of us, I just told who to like vibe with 8 about this. I think I had a dream that I went back to EDC. It was so funny. Like I had a dream I was there. It was like a broken down, busted ass EDC. Like it was not the production, but I was so excited and I was watching Seven Lions and I had my mask on in my dream and I was just sobbing, crying, watching Seven Lions on main stage at EDC. And then I go to leave the festival and I like look around. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to vlog the whole day. In my dream, I said, I forgot to vlog. I'm like, this is my content creator brain. I was like, screw it, whatever. I was enjoying myself. Like I was in the moment. It's irrelevant. I'll vlog tomorrow.
No, and you know what? That sounds like something that might happen to a lot of people. I think your subconscious was kind of correct on that you're just going to be so in shock and 100%. That is so crazy that you even dreamed that because that seems
I know
real.
That's literally what would happen to me.
Going to forget. And the crying part too, crying at Seven Lions. I think everyone's done that.
I just think the feelings, because I don't know, I'm sure like people actually have like PTSD after this and stuff like that because you felt like your lowest lows before. I mean, there were months there where you would just like start bursting out crying for no damn reason. You're like, why the hell am I in such like a weird mood? But I think to go from that to how we're going to feel after this, it's just like, it's going to be unreal. I can't even imagine. None of us have ever experienced something like this in our lifetime. So I don't think we can like put words to it.
Exactly. And I think that's what's going to make this so special. And I don't know. I mean, there's just so much newness coming out of this too, like those all-inclusive festivals, which I think those are still happening. Cruises like Groove Cruise, I don't know if that's even going to take place anymore. I don't even know if I'm not even sure how to feel about cruises at this point because a part of me has always wanted to go, but now part of me is like, but is it safe?
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm vaccinated, whatever.
Yeah. But I was going to say, if you're vaccinated or if they like did pretty decent testing before that, I would again feel like, okay, they've created this bubble of people that have all been tested or vaccinated. So I would feel fine at that point.
Right. Oh gosh, I don't know. Well, yeah, it's crazy. It's just so crazy. So the other thing too that I noticed you teamed up with Michael Julian, right? For your guys' new podcast, Festival Insider. I wanted to ask you what made you guys want to start that? Because I was like, this is such a cool concept and it's different.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's been a dream. It's literally been a dream come true. I can't even tell you. It was just one of those really crazy, I don't know if anybody else is into this woo-woo stuff, but like I've definitely become more of like a spiritual person this past year. And it was just one of those things that like he came into my life literally out of nowhere in December, like around Christmas time. He just found my content online and had needed help with content at the time. He was like, hey, I've got this thing going on over here with Festival Advisor and Festival Insider. And, you know, I have this idea for this podcast and like, you're kind of already doing that thing. And he is somebody who's he's been a promoter and been in the industry for 20 years. And he was like, you've got more of the perspective of like the fan and the community, which is really cool. And I want to link them both up because I think basically he was like promoters and festival producers and people in the industry should listen to the fans more and be connected to them, and vice versa. Fans and everybody should have a better understanding of how much work and like all these things going in behind the scenes to put on these shows, which I totally agree with. And I was like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. And yeah, and then we put it together pretty quickly. I mean, he knows so many people, so he's invited the most incredible guests on. And I think I've already learned so much too. Like, you really do hear how much work is going on behind the scenes to put together these events. We're talking to artists about their stories and things like that. And I'm trying to ask questions from like our perspective, from like a fan's perspective, like things we would want to know. So it's been like unreal so far. We have some amazing guests coming up.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. I actually listened to the most recent one that I listened to was the one about like content creators and like festivals and the significance of them for festivals. And I thought that one was really interesting. And I think one of the things that came up too was like you being counted as media, like in terms of like actual media that would get like someone that would get like a media pass. Like, and I just remember you saying something like some events do consider you media, which I definitely consider you media, especially because social media is ginormous. So I was like, that's really weird that they wouldn't like consider you media, quote unquote. But can you talk to us a little bit more about that and why you think that is and what you think should change?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm super passionate about this. I think it is changing. I loved doing that episode. We were talking a little bit about like festivals and, you know, different events in the dance music community, basically working with influencers and like who is an influencer that will actually make sense for your brand versus like, are you picking somebody and paying them and like their audience doesn't even make sense for your festival. So we were talking a little bit about that. But yeah, for media passes and stuff, I just think there's so many incredible smaller creators, or I guess you call them like micro influencers, festival content creators, whatever you want to say, who have amazing voices and content. And I always say, like, I'm a huge, obviously, fan of YouTube. I watch YouTube all the time. And I think a lot of people who attend events, the first thing they do is they look it up on YouTube because they want to see what the experience is actually like. Like the after movies the festivals put out are amazing and they get you so hyped, but they don't show you, okay, how long does it take to walk from here to here? Or how much do the drinks cost? What's security like? And a lot of these vloggers and content creators like capture that side. So I feel like you see the more realistic side. And they get a lot of views as well. So it's crazy to me. I think it's changing, but a lot of the bigger festivals, yeah, you have to apply for media online and it will ask you like, what's your website? How many content views do you get? Like all these crazy questions. And I remember filling out some of the forms being like, I'm not going to get accepted. They're going to laugh at this or they're going to think this is like a joke. And then some festivals did say yes and took a chance. And those were amazing. So yeah, he and I were just saying, I hope that it, you know, changes and that they take, content creators a little bit more seriously. I do think on the flip side though, if you are a content creator, I do think like any professional, like a photographer or videographer, you should have a portfolio. So you should prove that you have like a consistent amount of content. You don't just have like 2 vlogs on your channel from a year ago. You know, you should have a clear, like, okay, they consistently post, they clearly have an audience here. Like, I do think that's important as well. But anyways, end rant. I think that festivals should take content creators seriously.
Yes, I do agree with that 100%. And I think one of the things that a lot of people get kind of frustrated with is that they see like certain content creators or influencers getting chosen, but they don't necessarily know why or why other people didn't get chosen, or why is it like the same ones? And I mean, that can be like a different range of things, from like knowing like the event thrower personally, or I feel like sometimes too, like you don't really know what they're looking for in terms of, is it a certain metric? Is it engagement? Is it like a certain look that they're promoting? And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people had issues with. But at the same time, it's kind of like, from a business standpoint, like what are they looking for too? So I feel like it can be kind of, it's not really black and white. I feel like there's a lot of gray areas, because you have to think that, they're a business.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think it just depends on the event and things like that. I think if it's an event company or, festival producers, marketing teams, I think if they're smart, they should really look at their audience and say, like, who would be a good representation of our brand? Like, who has a voice, whose audience would resonate with us, that would want to come, and like whose audience would enjoy our festival or show or things like that. Because I think there are so many incredible small creators who have really high engagement rates, or like their audience really listens to them and trusts their opinion. And I think that's like more important. But at the flip side, I think you do have like smaller events who probably just want to pick influencers with really big followings because they think that will just get their name out there further. But again, I don't know if there are really numbers to back up if that like influencer that they paid a lot of money actually drove ticket sales to their event. So it's tricky to figure out.
Yeah, that's like a whole completely different story. But in terms of like content creators being considered media, I feel like that should be a no-brainer too, especially because like, not to hate EDC or anything, but usually their motto or their saying, their slogan is the most important headliner is you. So I feel like the majority of people would want to have content explaining a festival, like how long it takes to get there, what the lines are like, from a festival goer's perspective. Because I don't know how many times I've Googled like electric forest, like what to expect. Do you need bug spray? Like just stuff like that. Because in the end, it's hard to get that information from someone in general, because usually you get that from vloggers, like on YouTube, like you said.
Yep. No, I totally agree. And I think with some of those really, really big events, like I'm pretty sure with Insomniac events, I haven't never looked on their site, but yeah, to me, they're such big festivals that I think they already have media covered for the most part. So they have like professional photographers and videographers and things like that. And I can imagine how many people would want to be applying for, like media passes and stuff. So I don't see them working too much, but you never know. I mean, there were some things I know Electric Forest does. I haven't been yet, but I know they do different workshops and speakers and things like that. And they were launching a creative program or something like that would have been really, really cool. So we'll see in the future. You never know. It's possible.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I feel like now you just never know. So just take that risk and apply. Take that risk and talk to that brand or that event. I feel like, yeah, there are some like instances where it's like, okay, they're only going to pick certain people for blah, blah, blah reasons. But I feel like now things are changing so much. And I don't, God, like this term, I love it, but I hate it. But I feel like we're in that era of being more woke, quote unquote. And with being woke, there comes some pros and cons, but I feel like a lot of it is good. A lot of it is bad too. A lot of it is bad, but a lot of it I think is really important for sure. So, I mean, so many things are changing within the EDM scene. So we'll ride this one out together, I guess.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll say too is like, if I can do it, you can fucking do it. That's the other thing. I was just like, I really just want to help people and like create videos. Cause like I made mistakes at festivals and like that's literally why I started my YouTube channel. I was looking up how to prepare for EDC Las Vegas. And there were like literally 2 channels that I can remember that had videos. Like there was almost nothing on it. And that's why I was like, oh, like, why is there nothing on here? Like people must be looking for this. But anyways, like even Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, like you can make enough noise on your own and create enough like awesome content that people take notice of you. And that's kind of how I felt. I was like, oh, at this point, I just want to create enough content so that I can be taken seriously or, work for a festival or do something like that. So whatever your like motivation is, some people just want free festival tickets. Some people want free clothes, whatever your motivation is, like it is what it is, but you can do it. You can do the damn thing. You can make your own content. And that's what's really cool is like, that's why I love digital courses. Like, that's why I love people working from home, working for themselves. Like you literally have the power to build a business or build whatever from scratch on your own. So don't feel like you see all these other people getting tickets or doing whatever it is, or, creating a name for themselves. Like you can do the damn thing too. So do it, start.
Yeah, no, you're the prime example of that. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, she does everything. I don't know what she doesn't do. So you manage like several social media accounts as well, because you do have Rave Culture Cast. So, no, I think you're absolutely right. And I think that a lot of the times, like people, like with all these algorithm changes, they'll just want to give up. But it just goes to show, because I know that you started your YouTube in 2017? And it's been 4 years now. So, and
yeah, I think yesterday was my 4-year anniversary. I missed it. I just realized that.
Oh my God,
I think it was March 14th.
Anniversary.
Thanks. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. How does that make you feel, like looking at your YouTube, which I feel like, yeah, some people it's really easy to grow on there, but I feel like for me it's difficult. And like I feel like you've come such a long way, and it's really like inspiring to see that.
Thank you, girl. It's weird. I mean, I think the biggest thing, like, and I've said this to like people in the course and stuff like that, is like, obviously everyone knows time just flies. So if you're thinking about like putting something off, or like you'll get to it eventually, like I always just say like, start now. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like start your channel, start your podcast, because you get better with each and everything you do. And I didn't think 4 years would fly by this friggin' quickly, but I'm so glad I started when I did. So same thing goes for now. Like start this weekend and just start posting and putting videos out there. I think you just have to keep trying things too. And yeah, like I said, my growth was slower some years. And then 2019 was a really big year for me. That's when I did like 6 festivals that year. And I grew a lot on YouTube in that particular year. And then obviously in 2020, it was like much, much, much slower because people weren't searching for the festival stuff. But those are the moments where you have to just like stay consistent and pick a topic that you're really, really passionate about, because then you won't get sick of creating content. You'll always have new ideas to pop up. So I'm glad I picked a topic I'm passionate about.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. It's like, I know that, like going back to what was said earlier, like people kind of changing their niches, but I feel like if you've picked a niche that you are super passionate about, I feel like there's no way that you could go wrong with it, if that makes sense. Because for a while I was like, do I want my name to be Bass Drop Princess forever? Like, is this what I want to be known for? I kind of dubbed myself the Princess of Bass Drops. I don't produce. I just really love dubstep.
Yeah.
And like, sometimes I'll be like, oh, maybe I should change it. A lot of people tend to change their names to their real names, and which is completely fine. But I feel like, this is something that really defines me. And even if I do get older, I don't necessarily see it as being childish or dumb. I feel like it's more of a part of who I am. And I mean, I've had this name for like since college, since I was like 19, so like 11 years
That's
now.
awesome.
Yeah. Wow. And I think, like you said, like you just have to keep going. I remember when I hit 10K on Instagram, and I was like, what is this? This is like, this is crazy. And the thing is, it's cool, but it's not like, I feel like a lot of people think that your life will change significantly after you reach like a certain number. I actually had a joke about it, that I wanted to create like a documentary called Life After 10K. And then day one would be like, day one, I'm still poor.
Yeah.
I think that people do have like some misconceptions about social media, but No, like what you said, like you just have to keep going and start now. And yeah, you've definitely been one of my inspirations in terms of like starting YouTube, starting a podcast. So it's really great to see that you're continuing like all of this now in like the most weirdest time like in the world. And
Thank
here you
you.
are.
Thank you, girl. I was going to say too, yeah, like with the numbers and stuff like that, I will say I try to you just can't take it personally and you can't like equate yourself to your numbers because they're going to go like this. And if you like get super excited when they're high, you're going to get super down when they're low. So you kind of just need to like remove your like personal value from them and just like, I know Vibe with AIDS says this a lot, like treat things like an experiment. And once I changed to that mentality, I was like, it's all figuring this stuff out, like post things, see how they do well, test, adjust. And I remember I literally remember, I forget the exact numbers, but there were 2 milestones I hit. Like it was either 10,000 on YouTube and maybe like 15,000 on something. And I remember those were like, I was sobbing those days because I was in just a bad mood or not in a good place. And I was like, it's really funny how you hit these milestones that people would think would make you really happy. But I specifically remember there were 2 times where I hit a milestone and I was actually in like the worst headspace. So it definitely does not equate to anything else. But I was going to ask you with the podcast, what made you finally take the leap too? Like what made you finally be like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to record the first episode. I'm putting this thing out there.
You know what? But because I remember thinking about it for a while. I remember Desmond from the Festi Files like kind of interviewing me. And I was just thinking, this is so awesome. But during COVID, I actually found my love for comedy, for podcasts, and that was just my way of coping since I never stopped working. I work in healthcare. So it was a lot to take in. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it because I have a webcam. I can follow instructions. And if this thing is successful, it's successful. If not, that's okay because I want to share my love for candy and I just love how it makes me feel. And I think a lot of people are going to have fun reminiscing on candy and like what it's like to trade and that feeling you get after receiving and, you know, making that special connection with someone. And I think what it is too is with COVID, I think a lot of us are just like, just do it. Fuck it, because you never know when something's going to get taken away from you. So I think that's kind of what happened with me. I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to do it. And
that's awesome.
See what happens. Yeah, I think that's the thing too, is you just have to get yourself to do it. You can't just put it on the back burner forever. I mean, if you do, that's okay. But if one day you have to just push it out there.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think like there's different formats that work for everybody. Like you said, you're super passionate about podcasts and you love them. I'm the same way. Like I just love listening to them. And I was also always obsessed with YouTube. But I think try different things too, because I know a lot of people struggle on TikTok or like Instagram's really frustrating right now. So if one format isn't working out, like you might just be better off on a different one. And they're all rewarding and like they all have their different frustrations, but yeah, I say like maybe try not to spread yourself too thin, but maybe like try out different platforms if that's what you're into. I mean, I on the flip side think that this isn't for everybody too. So that's okay if you try and decide you don't want to do it. That's totally fine as well.
Yeah, I remember like asking some people to be a guest on Best Candy Ever. And I just remember, I think I mentioned it to you that like I got ghosted and it was just left on red. And then I was like, hold on, Renee, like you have to remember that some people don't want to be interviewed and recorded. And a lot of people get really nervous and it may not be that you're like really, really like small on YouTube or that they don't like the podcast. It might just be that they don't want to be interviewed. And I feel like a lot of us forget that.
Yeah.
Which I'm always like, oh yeah, I forget that people aren't like talkative like me and want to say everything that's on their minds. Like a lot of people are also very private, which I respect.
Yeah, I agree with you. And even with like vlogging and stuff like that, like I feel like it sometimes depends on where you live. Like I'm way more comfortable now vlogging at a show than I was, but like in front of my family, I'm weird about it. I don't know why. Like I'm just weird in front of my family when I vlog because it's like not funny to them, but I think like they just make fun of it, or like it's just weird for them to see me vlogging. But some things just feel uncomfortable in the beginning too. And like with anything, it just takes time and practice. So you just have to keep doing it until it feels comfortable.
Yeah. So does your family like fully know like what you do? And I'm guessing like if they do know about it, they're like accepting of it and are just like, do your thing.
Yeah, no, they always were supportive of it, but they're super proud now with everything going on. Like they know what I want to do. And it's funny, like no one in my family is like into dance music, but my mom wants to go to a show with me at some point, but like they're starting to get to know about it. And I tell them about like the interviews, and my mom's super supportive. She was like on Clubhouse on some of the panels
Are you serious?
I was on. She's like on Clubhouse listening.
She was on Clubhouse. Wow, you are your mother's daughter if she was on Clubhouse.
Yeah. Well, I told her to get on it. She like knew I was doing these like panels with the festival with Michael Julian and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, I'll sign on and I'll listen. So she definitely supports and kind of follows along with some of the stuff going on. So yeah, it's funny.
Oh, that's so cool. That reminds me of like artists, like when their families are like backstage and they can see them and they're just like really proud. That's what your mom just reminded me of, like just being proud of her little girl doing her thing.
It's like dance music on all the time. Are you that way, or do you listen to stuff outside of it?
So my boyfriend and I listen to a lot of Rufus the Soul.
Mm-hmm.
We're obsessed. And
so good.
Yeah, you like Rufus too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're EDM, but they're not. They're like this electronic band at the same time, and we love it because it's perfect for any occasion. Like if you're sad, you're in the car, you're on vacation, you're going to work. Either way, it's just going to lift your mood up. And I do listen to lots of dubstep and lots of EDM in general, but a lot of the times Rufus is playing because it just, those feel good vibes are just, I feel like a lot of times people have that certain artist that they play all the time, whether it be, Seven Lines, Above and Beyond, or Excision. But for us, for these past couple of months, it's been Rufus. Ever since they put their Joshua Tree live at Joshua Tree up on YouTube, that just inspired us both.
Yeah.
To the point where we even went out to Joshua Tree for a couple of days because we were just so
that's awesome,
captivated by them. Yeah, and they actually live there too, which I didn't know.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So like the whole time I was like, I hope we run into them at this Walmart. There's like only one Walmart in Joshua Tree.
Yeah. There are some days, I don't know, like obviously you and I are into podcasts. Like I definitely find myself some days like just binge listening to like content and YouTube videos and like streaming shows and all of that. And then there are some days it'll just come over me and I'll just listen to sets or music, or like I'll pick an artist I love and just listen to their Spotify the whole day. And I will literally just like get up and physically like dance, jump around, pretend I'm like at the set and like just need to get it out. And then there are those days where I'm like, oh my God, I freaking love this music so much. This past weekend, I randomly clicked on Zed's Dead's Electric Forest 2019 set. And I was just like in the zone. I felt like I was there, and it just like transported me to a place. So there are some times where you just like, your soul needs to hear a good set.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like that's what that's what a lot of us are doing right now. I feel like that's how I felt when I put on Excision's Subsidia set, and I was just like it makes you forget. And I think that's what's really cool about like podcasts and sets, because it just makes you forget, and it tells a story and it just sucks you in. I feel like it's almost like a not a dream, but you're just taken away. You're just blasted off into this other dimension, and you're just somewhere else, and that's what it's all about. And like you said, there are definitely some days where like Spotify is just on all the time on different artists, but other days I'm just binge listening to Tim Dillon, or there's this new podcast called Bloodbath. It's this all girl podcast. And I mean, maybe it's because I haven't really seen a lot of my friends. So podcasts make me feel like I'm with friends all the time, listening to conversations. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's just something that we both love. And I don't know, I feel like podcasts are just the new thing, and I feel like they're here to stay.
100%. Oh my God. there's always like new ones to find out in different categories. And like you said, you're into comedy. I would say like podcasts for me too are definitely not music related. They're like completely different categories of content too. But yeah, I'm so there with you on the sets. I feel like I'm sure anybody listening to this, who loves music festivals, it's just, that's like my happy place, the place I feel the most alive, and that feeling you get. Like, I just always say, like, you're never more present than in that moment. Like, it's all that matters is literally the set, the people around you. Like, you're all there having this experience together, and you just feel so like alive in that moment. So yeah, I'll put on a Seven Lions set or an Eric Prydz set and just totally zone in. And that's why I'm like, I'm going to lose my shit the first Seven Lions setback. Like, I will genuinely be sobbing. It's going to be really bad.
Yeah. I remember seeing him Escape 2018. Yeah, 2018. And he was there, and my good friend Timmy, we were watching Seven Lions, and we were so lit. And he was playing like all of his most like super feelsy songs, like Rush Over Me and just like those really feel good songs. And I remember looking at my friend Timmy, and I remember grabbing him and telling him, can you believe how lucky we are to be here at this moment in time where Seven Lions is actually touring and playing live? Like, so many people are going to want to see him live. Like, they'll discover him years from now, and he won't be touring anymore, or he won't make music anymore. Yet here we are, so lucky and so like not necessarily ungrateful, but we don't think about how amazing this is. And it was just one of those moments where it was like we're here, like we can say that we saw him live, like in his prime. And Seven Lions is just a whole different genre too. He's
you just made me think too. I have my one of my pearlers in front of me for one of my favorite artists, and like a little emotional, but yeah, I feel that same way because I have like my IO perler, which my friend Becca made for me, and like that's how I feel too. Like, IO was my last show before COVID. It was like, I think it was March 8th, 2020, and he passed in November, which like still physically pains me and hit me really, really hard. And it just breaks my heart. And I feel literally lucky to have seen him several times, because I know there's so many people who love him who didn't have the chance to see him. And I just think about things like that. And I'm so grateful that I had those opportunities and have so many good memories with like his sets and his music. And I feel lucky that my last show was his show. It was actually daylight savings last year, now that I think about it, because it was weird. He started his set and then the clocks changed. And like, it was it was like 1 a.m. all of a sudden. And he played, and like, I had to leave at some point because he was still playing at like 4:30 in the morning. I was just like, I need to call it a night. Where was this at? In New York at King's Hall in Brooklyn.
Oh, that is awesome. So
it was unreal.
Can you actually bring that perler back up? I want to like see it.
I'll show it up close. Yeah, Becca brought this to the show, and like, she's amazing. So the necklace like has 2 of his song names on it, and she like gave this to me before the show, and I was like, unreal. I love him so much. Yeah, she did such a good job. Somebody asked me like to take a photo of this, because I guess there's not that many IO templates or perlers online, so I need to upload that to Pinterest or something if people want to recreate it.
Oh, that's so cool. What songs like are on there?
We have Parental Advisory is on here, and then it just says Techno Babe on it. But
that's super cute.
Yeah, so good. So I have that hanging, and then I have this other one, which happens to be from Becca as well. She's just so good at making perlers. My skill level is not there yet, but we did a video on my channel. Gosh, it must have been like 2 years ago now, where we made perlers for each other, and she made me this, which is an Illenium Seven Lions perler combination. Unreal. Like, her skill level. And also she put like, I don't know if you can see, this is a rose in the middle there, because I'm obsessed with roses.
Oh wow, that's so detailed.
She's unreal. So I have these 2. They hang like on my like little vanity, just because I like to look at them. I need to figure out a way to display my perlers. I really want to hang them on my wall, just because I want to look at all of them.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's so beautiful. Actually, can you bring that
Yeah.
Millennium one back up and kind of like describe to people
Yeah.
that are
Sorry,
just
guys.
listening?
I'm the worst. Yeah. So she did a combination. So it's like the Seven Lions logo, but at the very top of it, it morphs into like the Millennium logo as well. What is this? A phoenix? I always forget. But yeah, and it's beautiful. And she did like my favorite color. So the Millennium one is these turquoise, like aqua colors, and then Seven Lions is all rainbow. But she did like rose petals in his hair, which is so unreal. It's huge. This is like absolutely massive. It's like the size of my chest, and she does the most beautiful, because I feel like when I do necklaces, I just do like the simplest design, but she did this like double layered flower pattern. So it feels like a really sturdy necklace as well, which is really, really nice. So she absolutely killed it with that.
Wow, she's phenomenal. Like creating
Mega
that
talented. Yep.
hybrid perler. I can't even because it at first I thought it was just Millennium. I didn't realize that the Seven Lions like line was in there, and then the craftsmanship on the necklace itself is
So good.
yeah, that's amazing. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
I wish I took out more, but I've had like so many subscribers and stuff give me perlers at festivals and things like that. And I want to cry every single time. Like they're just so thoughtful to me. It melts my heart, seriously. And people are so talented. I can't wait to like have another candy and perler session. That's like a tradition before a festival is coming up. So it's been a while.
Oh yeah, no, candy parties for sure. I cannot wait. But yeah, I can only imagine. I'm sure that people probably like make all these custom candies for you. Like I can definitely relate to like what you mean when you say it makes you want to cry, because it's like they took that time and that effort to create that for you, and it's like you're like at least for me, I'm like it's just me. I'm just this normal girl who who somehow tricked everyone into following her or tricked everyone into listening to her podcast. And sorry, Tuco is like
kitty
sing up.
You're good.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Tuco the cat is here, everybody. But anyways, yeah, I can only imagine. I feel like people are going to go nuts when they see you like at a festival. I feel like people are going to like come running over and they're just going to like hug you and want to talk to you. And
so weird. Well, all the meetups are going to be so, that's my favorite thing. Like I didn't do that early on, but then I'd say definitely in 2019, even 2018, if I remember my first meetup, like I love meetups because it's just so fucking chaotic at festivals and things like that. And like this serendipity of meeting people in the crowd is the best feeling, but I definitely want to plan more meetups. And I think those are just such a fun opportunity to finally like pick a time and place and see people in person that you've been chatting with online a lot. So definitely want to do a whole bunch of meetups when we go back. But you didn't trick people into following you. First of all, you are an authentic creator and you're sharing your passions. And I feel like those are I just feel like you can tell, like you can get that energy even through a screen when people know like you're being yourself and you're passionate about something. So you should be proud.
Thanks, Emma. I really appreciate you saying that. I think that means a lot, especially with like, I mean, like to be real here, like you see like on EDM Twitter, like people bashing influencers, content creators. And sometimes I read these and I'm just like, God, I hope they don't think that I'm like this fake, weird, conceited narcissist person. And, I remember reading something along the lines of like, why would you have a meetup? Like that's super conceited. Like you're not a celebrity or something like that. And I remember having a meetup for Lost Lands for like during Justin's set. Like I wanted to, help promote Scudda. Like I wanted support from my boyfriend, and it wasn't really about me, but I was thinking to myself, oh God, is that what people think of me because I had a meetup? And I just remember like thinking for a while, okay, meetups aren't cool. Like that's not a good thing. But like what you just said, like totally negates that, I think, because that's not like the intentions of our meetups, I think.
No, not at all. I was going to say, I didn't even think about that. No, I was going to say, I do the meetups not to meet me. I do the meetups so I can meet you. Like, that's the whole point of it, is like literally so I can finally like get everybody together and like, let's all these people we've been chatting with online, like, let's get together and pick a time and place. So I don't read those things. That's not even in my inner circle because that's like so irrelevant. Like, you know where your intentions are and like what you're trying to do and what you're trying to create. So don't worry about anything else, and people, meetups are so fun. It's so good to just see so many people and gather.
I've gone to meetups. I've gone to meet some influencers meetups because I'm also a fangirl, which is not good, but not bad either. Cause I love supporting like other people. And I think like for me, it's just super fun. And, it's kind of like a meet and greet, and I love meet and greets.
Yeah. Well, and even like I remember seeing a bunch online, EDC, Orlando, Vegas, like anything I've seen. I went to Reddit meetups because I know Reddit is a huge EDC Las Vegas meetup. I did that one 2 years in a row, I'm pretty sure. So anytime it's another group too, like there are Anjuna fan meetups, Seven Lions, Codex fan meetups. Like if you guys post about it, I will try and like roll through too, because I just think it's cool to see like who's there and who's popping by. So I think the more meetups, the better, because then you just get to meet more people in this community for sure.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about for sure.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah.
We're going to have so many. We have the podcast meetups.
I am down. Remember you said that. I won't forget that.
Yes. 100%.
So hell yeah. So before we end, I do have a raver advice submission. So raver advice it's a new segment where basically anyone can submit any questions about anything rave related or not. And we do have a submission from someone who decided to stay anonymous. Okay. And I'll go ahead and read the question, and then if you don't mind, like kind of help this person with some advice, and then I can give my 2 cents as well. So this person says, when festivals come back, my friends and I want to have theme matching costumes. Should we buy them or make them ourselves? Good one.
Ooh. I love when people get creative. It's the best thing ever when people do group costumes and stuff. I have a video on my YouTube channel with group costume examples and things like that. I mean, if you can, I guess it just depends like what the theme is overall. I definitely think you can make them and get really creative and buy basic stuff. I know people who have made custom jerseys for their rave families, which have been unreal. Like that's if you want to like go to another level, but you could also make your own totem for your rave fam and have something like that. That could be really cool as well. But I'm trying to think of like themes I've seen. I mean, you can do patterns. Like I've seen people just do like all different animal print patterns or like checkerboard fams and things like that to Mario Party characters. Like you can go, it depends on where you want to go with it, right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I feel like you could even do both if you want to create it. Because one year, my boyfriend and my friend Tammy and I, we were, I was Sully. My boyfriend was Mike Wazowski, and our friend Timmy was awesome. Boo. Yeah, but with Boo, it was so hard to like find an actual baby monster looking outfit that would fit an adult. So my friend Timmy got super creative, and he actually bought a mop from like the 99-cent store, cut it up, and he glued it onto some eyes, some big googly eyes. So it looked like Boo when Mike and Sully tried to dress her up as a monster.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And he just got like a pink shirt and shorts, and it totally looked like Boo. And my costume, I like just made the ears and Justin's. It was just a t-shirt with Mike Wazowski's giant eye on it. So I think that you can do it both ways. Like if you can't buy or afford the costume, I say try to make it.
Yeah, I agree. You just reminded me too. There were a couple years I made a few shirts on, I think it was like uberprints.com, but any like shirt company you want to make. And I did crop tops, and my little and we were the Plur Police because we're obsessed with Jaws's like remix of Plur Police. Love that. And I love Jaws. So yeah, he was playing at EDC on main stage. So I made the crop tops for us. They said Plur Police on the front and the back. They said, I'm EDM as fuck, bro. And then we dressed as like cops, and then we had like the Jaws flag. So you can always do something like that and incorporate like artist merch, or if you're a fan of somebody, you can like make your own shirt and stuff.
I love that. That's super creative. I really like the I'm Plur as fuck, bro.
Yeah.
I feel like that's super
Go
cute.
listen to that song. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for sure. Whichever way, whichever can get your costume point across, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes costumes, you'll buy them, but it doesn't look like what you want it to look like. So you kind of have to like tweak it yourself. So whatever you want to do.
Outfits are going to be so, like, that's the other thing. Like, I love totems. I've never brought a totem just because I feel like I'm always flying in or something like that. But I truly live for festival totems. I think they're so great and people are so funny, and I crack up the entire night. So I can't wait to see what everybody comes up with after this. It's going to be so good.
Yeah. And dude, they're getting so like much more intricate too, like with all the lights, with all the like special effects that they have going on. I'm just like you're going to know like where your fam is at, because they're going to have that only like super like high tech totem. But at this point, everyone might have a high tech totem at that time.
Yeah, you never know. I know there's some like neon signs or whatever they're called, like LED signs or something like that, where you can get them lit up and things like that. Flags are definitely something I did for Izu. I brought my like Rave Culture Cast flag because my fiance, like, he's so crafty. He built me, it wasn't very tall, like I had to hold it, but he built me a collapsible pole. I have a tutorial on YouTube if anybody wants it.
That's
and so like
convenient.
I could stick it together, and it was big enough so I could like hold it and wave it. And then I could collapse it and stick it in my lunchbox hydration pack, like side pocket. So it was really, really handy. Yeah.
That is so innovative.
Built it from Home Depot. Yeah.
Your fiance is awesome. I think that's one of the reasons why my group, well, first of all, it's always a small group, but so we don't need a totem really, but totems are just so big to lug around. And I feel like it's usually one person or two people that are trying to like not hold the totem. They're like, okay, it's your turn. It's your turn. But that's so smart. Collapsible, like
PVC pipe. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so smart. I love that.
Yeah. Go check out the video, you guys.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So Emma, drop where everyone can find you. Be prepared, everyone, because she's everywhere.
Yeah. So I'm at Emma Capotis on pretty much all my social media is at Emma Capotis. And then Emma Capotis on YouTube, at Rave Culture Cast. The podcast comes out every Wednesday. And I think that's it. And then Festival Insider podcast comes out every Tuesday. So you guys there's content all days of the week, pretty much at this point. Yes. Oh, and I'll plug my next course, because I'm pretty sure in April, I'm going to do just like a one-off webinar, because I've been really wanting to cover this topic, and it's going to be how to create and launch a podcast from scratch. So look out for that. I'll probably do like 2 sessions of it, but I'm really, really excited for that, because I want more podcasters out there to do the damn thing.
Oh my God, you guys, if you guys are thinking about doing a podcast, definitely take that course, because I wish that course was out when I was creating a podcast, because it was a lot of research. So that is awesome that you're doing that.
Got you guys. We're going to break it down. If you're on a budget, if you want to launch it within the next 30 days, that's what I'm literally just going to give you my framework of how I did that twice.
Yes. Fuck yeah. Well, Emma, thank you so much for being on Best Candy Ever. And we'll see you guys next time, Candy Crew.
Bye, guys.